You know, my mom was also a type A personality. So even though I know she would like help, if we didn't make these right, she'd be pissed. You know, she'd be like, what are you doing? What's up guys, Dale Talde here, the chef founder of Food Crush Hospitality, and I'm here to make you Eva Talde's, who is my mother, Pancit Molo, which is basically wonton soup. Pancit Molo, it's like two things, right? It's wontons and this beautiful broth. My mother's wontons are shrimp, chicken, and pork. I did grow up eating this almost every holiday season, and it is our family's kind of one of our favorite things to have during Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we're peeling the shrimp and we are saving the shells. These shells are going to help fortify the broth, and this is really an important part because this broth really is what, you know, holds the soup together, and it has to have that really kind of briny, oceanic flavor to it. I have no real fancy way to clean shrimp. I split them open first. This is where I go and kind of get rid of that inside piece. Yeah, the old poop vein, all right? I'm gonna take these to the sink and give this a little bit of a wash. We're gonna trim these up just a bit. So these need to go in with some ground chicken and ground pork. Lobster works really well. What you're looking for is that really beautiful bouncy texture. So while you can use crab, there has to be a little bit of shrimp in this to give it that beautiful texture that you're looking for. Just give this a bit of a whack to almost make a paste, right? You want this to be something that glues the, kind of fuses everything together. Give this a bit of a rough chop just to kind of make sure everything is nice and combined. You know, I worked at a Cantonese restaurant in the city, and the dim sum team would, when they were making these types of fillings, there was always be one person who, in a giant bowl, would be grabbing things and kind of smashing it together. We always called it the whack fuck. Like, here comes the whack fuck, and he would do it for like 30 minutes. So now that we've minced our shrimp and prepared our shrimp, we are ready to assemble the filling for our wontons. We're gonna go with pork. So we're gonna use chicken here. We're going to chop up our garlic chives. These have a really pronounced flavor of garlic. This is great, but this is what's gonna give it that distinct flavor to the wonton. They have to be cooked a little bit. Eating these raw, I don't suggest. They're not great. Like, you know how you can eat scallions raw? These aren't fantastic, but these definitely have a fantastic flavor, a fantastic aroma. So to this, we're gonna add a touch of soy, a little bit of oyster sauce. Then this is where I deviate a little bit from my mom's recipe. Hers is just soy sauce, salt, pepper. I put a little sugar in mine because I like the balance, the sweet and the salty. There's some salt and some black pepper or white pepper. You get in here with your hands and really get this mixed up. These are my favorite wonton skins. So these are Hong Kong style wonton skins. They have a little starch on here to help you, help everything kind of stick together. What we're gonna do is put a little water on the edges. So this is like a dessert spoon, like a tea, really for like tea and coffee, and about this much. So it ends up being just like a little less than a tablespoon. What's really important here is that you don't overfill your wonton. I bring the points a little off center, and then I push the air out, and then in my left hand I hold the wonton, and then I really just bring all the points together, and then I pinch. The way my mom does it, a bit of a pain in the ass. How my mother would make these, point to point, and then bring the tip together. So maybe for our purposes, why don't we just make it the way my mom makes, because you know what? I haven't seen her in a bit. This soup, without fail, will get requested by all my cousins. They'll pose it on like a what, you know, on a text chain. They'll be like, hey, what do we all want to eat for Christmas? And without fail, they'll always ask my mom, can you make wonton soup?
How many do you think you could make in a minute?
You want me to really bang them out? All right. I mean, I'll show these guys how to. I'll show the way to bang them out. If I'm at work, let's do this.
35 seconds. 20 seconds remaining. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
4. They're busted. They busted. Goes in the soup though, don't matter. It don't matter, they're busted. I think it's a labor of love, and that's maybe why this was a holiday thing. Because you're seeing so many loved ones, right? We were seeing all of our aunts, all of our uncles, all of our cousins. I basically wasted half the day making these because I'm so slow. But we have our wontons here. We're gonna go right into making our stock that these are all gonna sit in. So now we move on to the broth. And this is a shrimp and chicken broth. The reserved shells that we have here, we're gonna use those, toast that up. We have a little bit of garlic. And at this point, it doesn't really matter. Like you don't need to chop it up or mince it. It's just gonna in for some seasoning and some flavor. So we're gonna split the ginger, give it a whack. Same with the garlic. And this is where my mom's recipe and my recipe kind of butt heads. She would be kicking my ass right now if she saw me putting ginger in this. She specifically said, there's no ginger in that recipe. I literally, like 10 minutes ago when I was on the drive up here, was speaking to my mother about this. Oil in the pot, and you want this ripping hot. Right? You want to roast these shells. You want to get that toasted shellfish flavor to kind of infuse with the chicken into this broth. This was really hot, so they've got a beautiful roast in it. We're gonna dump in our ginger and garlic. People are fiercely defensive over the things that they grew up with. This isn't illegal. Ginger and garlic is not illegal in my stock for my wontons. So we are gonna deglaze this with a little bit of water and then hit this with some chicken stock and let this simmer to combine and get tasting delicious. The oil floating on the top here, I think that's really important. I think that when you see that sheen of oil on top of here, you know that you've cooked with enough fat that the flavor is going to combine with this broth. Put a lot of scallions in this. It's really kind of the only other textural element in this, because you want that wonton to be bouncy, but you want you're not looking for this beautiful ethereal like al dente pasta. No, like you gotta cook the pasta through. All right guys, so our broth has been simmering away for like 20 minutes now. And what's great about shrimp shells is that they infuse their flavor very quickly, so you don't want to spend all day kind of making this broth. And we fortified it with chicken broth. So we're gonna strain this broth right now. But keep this pot. You can discard this shrimp shells and go right back into wide pot. There you go. And then this is when you want to season your broth. We're gonna do a little fish sauce here, or a lot. A little salt. And we're just kind of adding like umami, right? And sodium. So be careful with it, but this is where you're gonna get a lot of your flavor from. On top of the shrimp shells and the chicken stock, which is gonna get that body. Your seasoning comes from only these 3 ingredients. So now we just drop the dumplings in. Pancit means noodle. Molo is the region in Iloilo where my mom's from in the Philippines that this dish came from. Heavily influenced with Cantonese culture. You know when you have traditional wonton soup in, like say you go to a Cantonese restaurant, it's not just wontons and broth. This is really just broth, the wontons, and scallions. So I think that that's maybe where some of the differences are, but the similarities are more are bigger than the differences in this soup. You could really see the Chinese influence in Filipino food with this dish. My mom would take all these scallions and dump them in like that. I ain't that sucker. I've done enough of this to know that we say, oh, you could eat it right away. And then you have some dude walking around like, it's scalding hot in his mouth and he's burned his taste buds for the next 2 days. I ain't that dude. These are ready now. The noodles are a little hammered, but you don't mind it. There's something kind of like, I don't know, nostalgic about it, right? And that's what it is for me. Like, for the recipe, click the link below and come visit me at Goosefeather in Tarrytown, New York.